What's going on, family? It's your girl, Guruji Chastity, and I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm not using my camera to record. I'm using my laptop, and I'm sitting at my desk. And I got my notes and all that good stuff. I'm really trying to, be intentional with how I use my energy. And that's even what we're talking about today. Today, I want to talk about create and direct the flows of energy and really what that means. I use every now and again. I don't use it as often as I would like, but every time that I use it, it's right on point. I use Acts of Faith by Iyanla Vanzant, where she has those daily affirmations, but they come with like little paragraphs and just her insight. And even if you don't read them every day, bro, it's just like, oh my God, they always hit. They always hit. You feel me? They always hit. And so, boom. She said just right here. I took this exactly. I'm gonna read this quote. It says, if women want success, prosperity, health, and good relations in their lives, they must learn how to make them manifest, not pushing, forcing, demanding. They come. Rather, move into your sacred space and allow your mind's eye to nurture and love yourself and everyone else, and let the power of love flow through you, right? And so I'm paraphrasing, family. I'm not saying exactly, of course. But that really touched me, right? It really hit me like, oh, wow. Lately, I've been taking time. I'll go and sit and write. And normally, I like to have a prompt or just like a thought, a challenge, or just something that has been on my heart. And when I took a moment to sit back and reflect, it was like, oh, shit. It was a major aha moment this entire time, right? I've been looking at feminine energy as something that I didn't have, right? And sometimes it was a bad didn't have, right? It showed up in my life as a weakness, right? I didn't have my feminine energy or the power of it because I didn't want to be vulnerable. I didn't want to show signs of weakness, right? And so it was always something outside of myself that I had to learn to work with and obtain and just acquire in my life. I was like, whoa, okay, that's a powerful realization, right? And then once I read that quote, it was like, let the power of love flow through you. That is like, oh wow. So if I want health, success, prosperity, right? Those are the masculine energy, right? But if I want to make those things actually manifest in my life, I have to let the power of love flow through me, which is the feminine energy. And so, one of the things that it talked about in that passage is that women create, men direct. But for me, when I look at that, I don't use women and men in that physicality, right? I'm looking at it in energetic terms. Feminine energy creates, masculine energy directs. And so today I want to talk about 3 points or 3 things that I really learned that I found to be just tips to utilize from this moving forward, because it's like, oh wow, knowing that I could let go of the idea of feminine energy is something that I'm trying to obtain. I don't have to obtain it. It already lives in me, right? And having this new perspective of how to work with it that I'm going to share really unlocked, like, oh snap, I'm about to be bad out here. I'm about to be bad, right? And so that's what I want to talk about today, family. Excuse me, let me get some water. And so, boom, number one, whew, the use of masculine energy and how that shows up for me, and the struggle to water myself with love and grace. I felt those went hand in hand, and that was a big point that I wanted to cover. Masculine energy shows up for me as my ability to move, my ability to do, right? Masculine energy is progress, it's active, it's it's moving, right? It's air. That's masculine energy is or air signs, right? And so that is a major element in my chart. And so that shows up in my life by all of the things that I do. Like, I enjoy work a lot. I'm very much so an initiator, but I'm not a good finisher all the time. unless I'm very passionate about it, of course. But I also have some Aries in my chart, right? And so it's this idea of leadership for me that shows up in my masculine energy ways. Also, in how I do my work and my ability to help women. The reason why I connect so much to help women is because most women need to tap into their masculine side in terms of acting it out in interpersonal relationships. And so in terms of learning emotionally, like emotionally, I'm tapped into my masculine side of how I process my emotions, how I process my thoughts. Information for me is cut and dry. Tell me what I need to know now. I don't want all that fluff. I really don't always need the stories or the feelings to encapsulate it, right? And that's how masculine energy shows up for me, where a lot of the women that I work with, I help them tap into that, right? Removing the obstacles from our lives means we got to get up and go. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. What are we waiting for, right? That's real life. I just, anytime I tell myself ain't nothing to it but to do it, it's like my body. It's like a DNA response. Like I get hyped. and that's why I'm able to help women. A lot of times women go with the flow. You feel me? I can go with the flow, but only so much. And I'm like, man, I don't want to do that. I'm finna do this. It might not work, and I might have to try something else tomorrow. And that's okay. I'm gonna do it, right? That's the type of energy that I come with, right? But again, we're gonna see. I have a good quote that really that came from me. I thought it's a powerful proverb, but it crystallizes everything, right? But that's how I use my masculine energy. And so it really, having access to what Iyanla said made me reflect on how energy shows up in my life, right? Because the topic today is create and direct the flow of energy. And so boom, you have to know yourself in order to apply any information. And so I had to pinpoint how that shows up for me, right? When I look at that and how that shows up for me, it indicates it's hard to water that energy, right? It's a little bit of a struggle because when I said whoa, 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 right? Just imagine if I was a flower, right? And somebody was trying to water me and your flower was like, whoa, whoa, you was like, boy, hold on, okay? And so that is like literally, that's very funny because that just happened. So having just the honesty and the awareness with myself to even look at that, like, bruh, that is a benefit, but also that does come with the consequence. You are hard to pinpoint down. My sister, brother, man. Right? Since you're so tapped into your energies, you're hard to pinpoint down. And that shows up in my life as well, right? Some people come around me and I'm very inspiring because of that. Because I get up, ain't nothing to it but to do what we waiting for. And a lot of people don't have that kind of get up and go energy. But some people don't like it because tomorrow, what we spent all this time doing yesterday, tomorrow I maybe have got a download, spoke to somebody, thought about it myself, and then wanted to try something else. Or tomorrow I might not have shit to say. Nothing. This wind ain't blowing at all, right? And so I'm hard to pinpoint down. And that's not always a good thing. That's not. And so again, highlighting how my masculine energy shows up also highlighted how I am not gaining as much access to my feminine energy, right? And then with that, when I realized, like, okay, you want to do all this moving and grooving, ain't nothing to it but to do it, right? With that awareness, what do we now? Right? Not to say now what in terms of like, okay, now I'm going to change it or I need to do something else, but what does that mean? Like, how does that make me feel? And I can't say that I felt good. It's like, it's nice, but at the end of the day, there's a big part of me that's still super, super sensitive emotionally. And it's like when those parts of me come out, not having the tools to do something with that does not feel good in the moment, because either I can't articulate that to somebody else and then I act out, or I can't articulate that with myself and then I treat myself bad, right? It just doesn't create a good sensation at all, right? It doesn't create a good sensation. And so I was like, wow, because I move so fast all the time, I rarely give myself an opportunity to water myself with love and grace, right? And it's like, oh, okay. Okay, I realized that. Okay. So boom, I am good masculine energy and I have feminine energy, but I really don't have access to a lot of it. Not as much as I would need to complement as the capacity I'm able to hold my masculine energy. Right? So that's the first thing I realized. The second thing, it was like, okay, boom. So now that I know this, right? Because I know I need them to complement each other. It's not like I'm not doing. I find myself. It's not polarity. I don't have to polarize it anymore, right? I don't have to say it's good or bad. It's like, oh no, I need both. So here's the paradox. Okay, well you have a little bit over here, and this one is a little bit down here. How do I bring them both up, right? And it was like, okay. One of the things that I learned by looking at it as a paradox, the mystery is that softening is not a weakness, but the fuel that I've been looking for. And I said, oh, god damn. So it's like, okay, boom, bet this. It's almost like every day my masculine energy is my car, right? Man, you might see me pull up in a BMW. Next day, I might be in an Audi. The next day, I might be in a Range Rover. But every time I pull up, I'm in regular gas. Oh, and it's like, oh, you really only get so far. Or you might see me driving, and then down the street, I'm broke down. And you like, dang, Chastity, I just seen you down the street. Everything was fine. And I'm like, no, man, I don't know what happened. I need a break. I'm panicking like, bro, my car keep running. Right? That shit crazy. I said, oh. So I've been putting cheap gas in all my nice ideas, all my nice manifestations, right? Because I'm good at masculine energy. But I've been thinking feminine energy is like a weakness. So I ain't been really down to do my work and invest and put my money in getting good gas, and my money being energy, right? I wasn't getting good gas. I didn't want to invest. So I always tried to get the cheapest gas, the quickest way out, right? And so for me, sitting with my masculine, my feminine energy, a quick way out is like, okay, you ain't cried in like a month. I'm sure you need to cry. Just cry it out. I'll give you this pass. Come on, let's cry it out real quick. That's a cheap vacation to, girl, you know you hurting in there. Quit acting like it. You know this raggedy gas you've been putting in here, been messing up this engine. Okay, and your heart is about to go little Bernie cut up in here. Okay, and it's just like, oh my God, being honest with yourself ain't nothing to it. Ooh, ain't nothing to this sensation, right? Having this, wanting to have this deep level of awareness, right? And so this is what I'm realizing when I'm sitting here writing, family, and I'm like, okay, boom. So that was the second one that I learned. That like, okay, when I put this in a polarity, I realized that feminine energy shows up as gas, and then my masculine energy shows up as the car. And right now, at least I'm safe in knowing I'm riding in high quality cars, right? Because I'm not manifesting or producing anything that's just BS, right? But I'm also not investing the time and the energy to put the fuel in there that matches what I'm manifesting. And I said, whoa, that was a lot. Whoa, okay? So then when I realized, okay, this is what really hit home. This is what the big whopper chopper is. That, okay, boom. Now, number one, I realized how I used my feminine and masculine energy. And once I realized how I used them, I changed that perspective to change that old thought out of my head. How can I make this different, right? And the third one, I said, okay. Softening is now, it seems more accessible when I view it as a benefit to me and not a pain point, not something that I struggle with. It's a benefit. Who don't want premium gas if I'm driving in a Range Rover? I don't want to put no regular gas in there. I'm not going to the, I don't know, what's a cheap gas station? because all gas stations, you just got premium and then super, whatever, the regular and then the premium. So gas is gas at the gas station. I don't know. But I'm putting super in here from now on. It ain't no more regular. You feel me? And I said, whoa, now I don't have a problem being soft, because I know when I ease into that softness, right? That's fuel. That's fuel. That's not, ouch, that hurts. I'm being vulnerable and I don't want nobody to see me. No, hook me up with that premium gas, cuz I know that this might not feel a little bit good because I've been putting cheap gas in here. But once I start, I got this new perspective and I'm ready to invest in this premium gas. So I know once I unclog this pipe, we straight. But I had to realize that I was putting cheap gas in there. And I ain't get mad at myself. I said, well, shit, you ain't know. You just thought it was well enough to drive in a nice car. You ain't know you had to put good gas in there. And then you had to realize where you like to go to get the good gas, right? Okay, crying, that's the medium gas. Again, we want super, so we got to step it up, right? So sometimes you might have to journal. You might have to sit down with yourself and be like, dang, you drove this car into a ditch. You did. Mm-hmm. And why you do that? I've learned to have moments with myself, because I truly used to act off of impulse. Like, that's how I feel, let's go. And it's like, well, you don't really get all of the information that way, because I'm just running off of masculine energy, and there's another component to it. Remember, there's another component. It's another component. And now that I don't view this other component as something that, like, I don't really need because I'm good over here. This is the good one. That's the bad one, right? I don't look at it like that anymore. I look at it as this is going to enhance it. And so now I got to look into it, right? I got to look into it. And so the quote that I said, my little proverb that I had, family, that I wanted to leave y'all with was, what good is planting flowers if you don't stay around to water them, right? You plant them for a little bit. You don't even stay around to see them. Somebody else stay to see it. And then it die a little bit later because you never came back to water it. Hopefully. Maybe you think somebody else will or something like that. But what good is planting flowers if I am never there to water and nurture them? And I'm planting flowers from my heart with my work. I'm planting parts of myself with all of this content that I create. And what good is it if I don't water it? And watering it for me looks like not procrastinating on making content or finding ways to evolve, right? Even though I began making content and just always speaking from the heart, I can grow into making a content database, making content and looking back at it, right? How many of y'all would believe I would make all of these videos? If I'm recording on live, I put it right out. But if I'm recording at home or doing something else, my podcast, every single piece of content that I've ever made, family, for this entire time that I've grown into Guruji Chastity and just creating this platform, right? This has been almost a year. This entire time, I've never watched it back after I edited it. And I damn near probably haven't watched it back when I put it out. Now, how is that nurture? Right? How is that watering? And I had to be honest with myself. And it's like, yo, I don't want to show up like that anymore. Right? I'm investing more. I'm investing more in this fuel. You feel me? And sometimes I might have to look back at content and it might not be good. You might was just talking to talk, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so I hope y'all appreciate this message, family. My sharing is up. I feel like I came from the heart, even with the notes that I had, family. And so, as always, I love you. Until next time, peace out.